Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer. It's been a little while since I posted any reviews. Didn't get to see a whole lot of films last weekend, but I caught up a little bit this week. And I'm going to get started with a film that I saw a little while ago now at this point, Mark Felt, the man who took down the White House. And honestly, didn't really matter if I posted this review or not because probably nobody saw this and nor should they. And was not a huge fan of this film. I thought it was very mediocre made film, and it really didn't hit home with anything. And it's just like such a fascinating story about a fascinating person who really did take down the president of the United States. And this man was deep throat during the Watergate scandal and just really wasn't well put together. You have director Peter Landsman, and the story is very plotting, it's very slow, it really doesn't hit home at all in terms of anything. There are some tense moments, as this is more of a political thriller, but honestly, you don't really feel super connected with anybody, and I don't know if this was just from the director's point of view and a decision that Landsman made, but to encourage everybody to be a little hammy, except for Liam Neeson, who played Mark Felt in the leading role. But there's so many supporting characters, and they kind of feel out of place. And honestly, the direction of this film wasn't that well done. And then we have our cinematography done by Adam Kimmel, and it's a very drab-looking film. And there wasn't really anything really inspired about the cinematography. Looked really drab, as I mentioned, but there wasn't any cool shots or anything interesting that they were able to say with how they filmed this story. And getting into the story, getting into the writing, also done by Peter Landsman, this is such an interesting story. And there's so much intrigue in this story, and I have to give it to, yeah, there is very much intrigue in the story, but really the only interesting person at all, by any shape or form, is Mark Felt, and that's it. And a lot of the other characters seem a bit like caricatures or just like one-dimensional characters plopped in there in the story to keep moving things along. The dialogue was fine, did feel a bit artificial and like movie feel through a lot of it, and honestly, the themes of this is like dealing with being a whistleblower and trying to take down a really corrupt person. And honestly, this film could have done so much better in terms of making some form of impact. And then the composer Daniel Pemberton, who did the soundtrack for King Arthur Legend of the Sword, which I loved that soundtrack. It's like, did a nice job with the score for this film, but it wasn't really anything special. And then you get into the acting. I really liked Liam Neeson in this film. I thought he did a fine job of carrying this film as much as he could. And if it wasn't for Liam Neeson, this would probably get an F. Spoiler alert. But he did a really good job, and I liked seeing him in something more dramatic than more Taken movies or more films like Non-Stop and stuff like that. And I want to see him do more films like that. So it got me a little excited to see him do a little bit more of a dramatic role. And then our main antagonist here, who's trying to figure him out, played by Martin Sokos. And he's popped up in a lot of different things, and he's usually really, really, really hammy and over the top, and he sure was in this film, and it felt so out of place, and he took me out of the movie. As did a lot of people. I was like, I feel like I had Tom Sizemore pop up, and she's like, what are you doing here? And Josh Lucas, and I don't know. This film really didn't work for me that much, and really what I'm going to say, it's a great story presented in a very dull and shoddy slog of a film, and that's basically what I could say. And if this was a documentary, it would have been so much better, but they try to put it in a dramatic film, and at least for the story and for Liam Neeson's performance, I'm going to give Mark Felt, the man who took down the White House, a D.